Quinn, you're dismissed. This briefing is for combat-rated personnel only. The words hang in the air of the Tactical Operations Center like a death sentence. 4 a.m. and the room is packed. 42 officers and senior enlisted crammed into a space designed for 30. Everyone's in full battle dress, patches crisp, boots polished despite the hour. Everyone except Captain Ava Quinn, standing in the back corner wearing a desk uniform that might as well be a scarlet letter. Colonel Derek Sloan doesn't even look at her when he says it. He's at the front of the room, pointer in hand, satellite imagery of a valley displayed on 3 massive screens behind him. The valley looks like hell carved into the earth, narrow, steep-sided, no easy exits. Red triangles mark enemy positions. Blue dots show friendly forces. 152 blue dots, surrounded by hundreds of red. "Ma'am, did you hear me?" Sloan's voice carries that particular tone officers use when they want to humiliate someone publicly while maintaining plausible deniability. "This is an active combat rescue operation. We need pilots who can actually fly." A few scattered chuckles ripple through the room. Captain Troy Nash, leaning against the wall near the door, doesn't even try to hide his smirk. "She's still here? Thought she transferred to finance." More laughter. Ava doesn't move. She stands perfectly still, feet shoulder-width apart, hands clasped behind her back. Standard military bearing. Her breathing is slow, controlled. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out. The kind of breathing you learn when you've had to stay calm while people are dying around you. In her right hand, hidden behind her back, she holds something small. A coin, worn smooth at the edges from years of handling. Most challenge coins are shiny, new, collected like trading cards. This one is different. Scratched, faded. The kind of coin you earn, not buy. Chief Warrant Officer Sam Rivers notices. He's 65, weathered like old leather, standing near the coffee station. His eyes track the slight movement of Ava's fingers rolling the coin. His expression changes, just a flicker, but it's there. Recognition, or maybe confusion. "Captain Quinn," Sloan's voice again, sharper now. "I won't ask a third time." Ava straightens. "Yes, sir." Her voice is steady, neutral. She turns toward the door, and as she does, a folder slips from under her arm. Papers scatter across the floor. Standard flight ops paperwork, nothing classified. As she kneels to gather them, Rivers steps forward to help. That's when he sees it. One of the papers is different, an old flight manual, edges worn soft, with a call sign written in faded ink on the cover. "Reaper 6. Rivers' hand freezes halfway to the paper. He knows that call sign. Everyone in Special Operations Aviation knows that call sign. But Ava is already scooping up the papers, tucking them back into the folder with practiced efficiency. She stands, meets Rivers' eyes for half a second, just long enough for him to see she knows he saw, and walks toward the door. Nash doesn't move aside. He's blocking the exit, arms crossed, enjoying his moment. "Couldn't hack it, could you, Quinn? Heard you got grounded for protocol violations. Real pilots don't make mistakes like that." Ava stops. She's 6 inches shorter than Nash, probably 50 pounds lighter. For a moment, the room holds its breath. Then she steps around him without a word and walks out. The door closes behind her with a soft click. Nash turns back to the room, grinning. Someone had to say it. But Rivers isn't laughing. He's staring at the door, then down at his own coffee cup, then back at the door. He leans toward a junior warrant officer next to him. "That coin." His voice is barely a whisper. "I know that coin." At the front of the room, Sloan resumes the briefing. As I was saying, SEAL Team 7 is currently surrounded in the Korangal Valley. They were on a reconnaissance mission when they stumbled into a reinforced Taliban position. Approximately 300 hostiles. Our people are pinned down in a dried riverbed with minimal cover. He clicks through satellite images. The situation is dire. The SEAL team had inserted via helicopter at dusk yesterday, planning a quick surveillance op. Instead, they walked into a prepared ambush. Now they're trapped, ammunition running low, casualties mounting. The valley is a natural kill box, steep mountains on 3 sides, the only exit to the east covered by heavy machine gun positions. "We've already lost 2 extraction birds." Sloan's voice is matter-of-fact, like he's reading a weather report. "Both Chinooks were shot down on approach. No survivors from the air crews. 12 casualties total." The room goes quiet. 12 dead trying to save 152. The math is ugly and getting worse. "Current assets?" someone asks. "All committed. We've got 4 Apaches providing fire support, but they're low on fuel and ammunition. 2 more Chinooks are inbound, but they won't arrive for another 90 minutes. The valley is too hot. Surface-to-air missile coverage is dense. RPGs on every ridge. The enemy knew we'd try to extract. On the screen, the blue dots haven't moved in 3 hours. The red triangles are closing in. Sir, 90 minutes. The voice trails off. Everyone in the room knows what 90 minutes means when you're surrounded and running out of ammunition. Sloane's jaw tightens. I'm aware of the timeline. We're working with what we have. All extraction-capable aircraft are either in the air or down for maintenance. There are no reserves. What about the Blackhawks at be all deployed? Sloane cuts him off. Listen carefully. This is not a debate. This is a notification. We hold current positions, support with available air assets, and wait for the Chinooks. Those are your orders. Rivers raises his hand. Sir, permission to speak. Denied. This briefing is over. Dismissed. The room empties slowly. Officers and enlisted filing out in small clusters, voices low. Rivers lingers, pretending to refill his coffee. He's thinking about that coin, about that call sign, about the way Ava walked. Not defeated, not angry, deliberate, like someone with a plan. Outside in the hallway, Ava is already gone. The mess hall at 0430 is usually empty except for the handful of third-shift personnel grabbing breakfast before heading to bed. This morning it's busier. Word travels fast on a military base, especially bad news. 152 soldiers trapped. Rescue operation failing. The kind of news that makes sleep impossible. Ava sits alone at a corner table with a cup of coffee she hasn't touched. She's pulled out a tablet, scanning through what looks like routine administrative paperwork. Supply requisitions, training schedules, the kind of mundane desk work that makes people's eyes glaze over. But her finger keeps returning to one document, a maintenance log. Specifically, the maintenance status of Tail, number 297, a UH-60M Blackhawk currently listed as ready for operations despite being flagged for a Level 2 inspection. The kind of discrepancy that would normally take days to resolve through proper channels. 3 tables away, Sergeant Kyle Watts is holding court with a small group of junior enlisted. His voice carries. I'm telling you, Quinn couldn't hack it. That's why she's grounded. Heard she froze up during a training exercise, almost got her crew killed. One of the younger soldiers frowns. I heard it was protocol violations. Same difference. Point is, she's not cut out for combat flying. That's why she's pushing paper now. Watts takes a long drink of coffee. Real pilots are out there right now trying to save those SEALs. Quinn's in here filling out forms. Ava doesn't look up. Her expression doesn't change, but her fingers stop moving on the tablet screen. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out. A staff sergeant at another table clears his throat. Hey Watts, maybe keep your voice down. Why? It's true. Everyone knows it. There's a reason she's not in that briefing room. Watts leans back in his chair, enjoying his audience. You know what her job is now? She processes flight hour reports. She literally counts other people's missions. The staff sergeant looks uncomfortable but doesn't push back. Rank has its privileges, and Watts has 3 years and 2 deployments on him. Ava closes the tablet. She stands, picks up her untouched coffee, and walks to the disposal area. As she passes Watts's table, he makes eye contact. Morning, Captain. Working hard on those spreadsheets? She doesn't respond, doesn't even pause, just keeps walking toward the exit with that same measured pace. But Watts notices something odd. When she sets down the coffee cup, her hand is perfectly steady. No tremor, no tension. The kind of hand control you see in surgeons, or snipers, or pilots who've logged thousands of hours in conditions where one wrong move means death. The thought flickers through his mind and then disappears. Because the obvious explanation is simpler, she's just numb to it, beaten down, broken. He turns back to his audience and continues the story. In her office, a converted storage room with a desk, 2 filing cabinets, and a window that looks out on the motor pool, Ava pulls out a different tablet. This one isn't connected to the base network. She plugs in a secure dongle and waits for it to boot. A plain text interface appears. No graphics, no icons, just lines of code scrolling past. She's monitoring encrypted communications. Not officially, of course. The kind of monitoring that would end her career if anyone found out. But then, her career already ended 6 months ago when she was voluntarily reassigned to administrative duties pending investigation. The investigation that never quite seems to conclude. The investigation that started 3 days after she filed a formal complaint about discrepancies in ammunition inventories and fuel logs. She scrolls through intercepted messages, most of them routine logistics chatter. Then one catches her eye. Timestamp 0441. Source, Colonel Sloan's personal device. Destination, encrypted. Message, all assets committed, proceed as planned. Ava's fingers stop moving. Proceed as planned. That's not standard military communication. That's not how you coordinate a rescue operation. She cross-references the timestamp. That message was sent 11 minutes after the briefing ended, after Sloan told everyone there were no reserve aircraft, after he ordered everyone to hold position. Her second tablet, the official one, chimes. She switches screens. A flash traffic alert. Broken Arrow, extraction bird down. Repeat, extraction bird down. All personnel KIA. The Chinook that was supposed to arrive in 90 minutes didn't make it. Shot down 40 kilometers from the objective. 8 more dead. 20 casualties now. 152 still trapped. Ava opens a drawer in her desk. Inside, folded carefully, are a pair of flight gloves. Nomex, fire-resistant, worn soft from years of use. The kind of gloves you don't throw away even when they're technically past their service life. The kind you keep because they fit your hands like a second skin, because you've worn them through situations where grip and tactile feedback meant the difference between landing safely and crashing. She puts them on. Her hands remember. Fingers curling just right, palms settling into familiar grooves, muscle memory running deeper than conscious thought. If you've ever been underestimated, you know this rage. Hit that like button. Let's prove them wrong together. The walk from her office to Hangar 7 takes 4 minutes at a normal pace. Ava makes it in 2.5. Not running. Running would attract attention. But moving with purpose. The kind of purposeful stride that makes people instinctively step aside. The hangar is dim, lit by emergency lighting. Most of the aircraft are out. The maintenance crews are focused on the flight line, prepping birds for the next wave of sorties. Nobody's paying attention to the back of the hangar where Tail 297 sits with a yellow tag on the rotor brake. Awaiting Level 2 inspection. Ava approaches from the side, staying in the shadows. She knows this hangar. Spent 3 years working out of it before her reassignment. Knows which security cameras have the widest blind spots. Knows which maintenance crews are thorough and which ones cut corners. The Black Hawk looks ready. All panels closed. No visible damage. The yellow tag is administrative theater. Someone in supply didn't file the right paperwork, so the bird gets grounded until the bureaucracy catches up with reality. Meanwhile, 152 soldiers are dying. She's halfway to the bird when a voice stops her. Captain Quinn. Captain Troy Nash steps out from behind a fuel truck. He's changed into a flight suit, clearly just came from or is heading to the flight line. His expression is somewhere between amused and contemptuous. Looking for something? Routine inspection. Ava's voice is level. Routine inspection at 0500 on a bird that's not even in your section. Nash crosses his arms. Try again. I don't need to explain myself to you, Captain. Actually, you do. I'm the duty officer for this hangar, which means nothing moves without my authorization. He takes a step closer. And you're not authorized to be within 50 feet of any flight-ready aircraft, or did you forget about your suspension? I'm not suspended. I'm reassigned. Semantics. Nash is enjoying this. You want to tell me what you're really doing here, or should I call the MPs? Ava doesn't move. She's calculating. Nash is 6'2", 220 pounds, athletic build, former college wrestler. He's got reach, weight, and position. The smart play is to walk away, file a complaint, go through channels. But channels take time, and 152 soldiers don't have time. I'm taking that bird. Ava's voice is quiet. Not a threat, a statement of fact. Nash actually laughs. You're what? You're going to steal a Black Hawk? I'm going to save the people we left to die. We didn't leave anyone. We're coordinating a proper extraction with proper assets, something you'd understand if you were still a real pilot. He steps directly between her and the helicopter. Walk away, Quinn. Before you make this worse for yourself. Move. Or what? Ava closes the distance between them in 2 steps. Nash reflexively reaches out to stop her, and that's his mistake. The moment his hand touches her shoulder, she moves. Not a strike, not a punch, just a precise rotation of her body, her hand coming up to catch his wrist. her other hand pushing his elbow at exactly the wrong angle. Basic joint manipulation, the kind taught in every close combat course. Nash goes down hard, not injured, just shocked and off balance. By the time he processes what happened, Ava is already moving past him toward the Black Hawk. "I'll have you arrested," his voice follows her. "Get in line." She doesn't look back. The pre-flight check should take 15 minutes. Ava does it in 4. Not because she's rushing. Rushing gets you killed. But because her hands know this aircraft, every switch, every gauge, every quirk and personality trait that makes this particular bird different from every other UH-60M in the fleet. She straps in, adjusts the seat, pulls on her helmet. The familiar weight settles onto her head like coming home. She flips the battery switch and the instruments come alive with soft electronic chimes. Fuel, full. Systems, green. Weapons, none. This is a utility bird, not configured for combat. Behind her, she can hear Nash on his radio, calling for security, calling for the duty officer, calling for anyone who will listen that someone is stealing a helicopter. Ava doesn't hurry. She continues the startup sequence with methodical precision. Engine 1, online. Engine 2, online. Rotor brake, released. The turbines spool up with their characteristic high-pitched whine, building to a steady thrum that drowns out Nash's shouting. On the other side of the base, in the operations center, Major Brad Hewitt is monitoring the tactical frequency when an alert pops up on his screen. Unauthorized engine start, Hangar 7, tail 297. He opens the security camera feed. The image is grainy in the pre-dawn darkness, but he can make out the shape of the Black Hawk, rotors beginning to turn. A figure in the cockpit. He zooms in, but the angle is wrong. Can't see the pilot's face. He switches to the maintenance database. Tail 297, status, grounded. Assigned pilot, none. Authorization, none. Hewitt picks up the radio. "Ground control to Tail 297, you are not cleared for engine start. Shut down immediately." In the cockpit, Ava hears the transmission. She doesn't respond. The rotors are up to speed now, generating lift. She can feel the Black Hawk getting light on its skids, eager to fly. She pulls pitch, and the bird rises smoothly off the hangar floor. Tail 297, acknowledge this transmission. You do not have clearance for departure. Ava toggles her radio. 297, departing. Her voice is calm, professional, like she's making a routine traffic call. Hewitt's voice loses its professional veneer. Negative, negative, negative. You are not cleared. That aircraft is reported stolen. Return to the hangar immediately. Ava increases collective, and the Black Hawk rises faster. She tilts the cyclic forward, and the bird accelerates out of the hangar. The sky is still dark, stars visible overhead. Runway lights stretch out before her. She doesn't need permission. She needs airspeed. All stations, all stations. Unauthorized departure Tail 297. Aircraft is reported stolen. All personnel are advised. Ava switches frequencies. She knows the tactical network, knows which channels are being used for the rescue operation. She listens to the chatter. It's not good. Ghost 23 is Winchester, returning to base. Copy Ghost 23. Ghost 24. Status? 24 is at Bingo Fuel. We need to RTB in the next 10 mics. 10 minutes. The last 2 Apaches providing fire support have 10 minutes of fuel left. After that, the SEALs will be completely alone. Completely exposed. Another voice, one Ava recognizes. Colonel Sloan. All Ghost elements, RTB as fuel allows. Mission is suspended pending arrival of additional assets. Sir, what about the ground element? A pause. Then, they are to hold position and await extraction. Sir, they're almost out of ammunition. If we pull air support... I gave you an order, Captain. Return to base. The tactical frequency goes silent. In her headset, Ava can hear the unspoken truth. They're abandoning those men, leaving them to die. Not because extraction is impossible, because someone decided it wasn't worth the risk, or because someone wanted them dead. She checks her navigation display. Distance to the objective, 92 kilometers. Flight time, approximately 20 minutes at cruise speed. She pushes the cyclic forward, and the Black Hawk accelerates. The airspeed indicator climbs. 120 knots, 140, 160, pushing the bird's limits. Behind her, the base is erupting. Security vehicles racing toward the hangar, personnel scrambling, orders being shouted. But Ava is already 5 kilometers out, flying low and fast over the desert terrain. Too late to stop her, too fast to catch. In the operations center, Major Hewitt is on 3 radios at once. "I need a status on tail 297. Where is that aircraft?" A radar operator responds. "Tracking shows 297 heading 320 at high speed, altitude 500 feet. Course is direct toward," the operator's voice catches. "Sir, that's a direct course to the Korengal Valley." "Confirm that." "Confirmed, sir. 297 is heading directly toward the hot zone." Hewitt switches channels. "Colonel Sloan, we have a situation." When Sloan comes on the line, his voice is ice. "Define situation." "Sir, tail 297 has departed without authorization. Pilot appears to be heading toward the objective area." Silence for 3 heartbeats. Then, "Who's flying that bird?" Hewitt checks his screen, pulls up security footage from the hangar, enhances the image. "Sir, it appears to be Captain Quinn." More silence, longer this time. "Sir, I want that aircraft stopped." Sloan's voice is perfectly controlled, perfectly calm, the kind of calm that comes before violence. "Do you understand me, Major? Stopped, whatever it takes." "Sir, she's in flight. Our options are limited to, but I don't care about limitations. That pilot is unauthorized. That aircraft is stolen. Stop her." Hewitt feels something cold settle in his stomach. "Sir, are you ordering me to—" "I'm ordering you to deny her access to the operational area. Use any means necessary. Is that clear enough?" "Sir, if she doesn't respond to recall orders, our next option would be—" "Then use that option." Sloan's voice drops to a whisper. "Major, listen very carefully. That pilot is violating direct orders during an active combat operation. She is flying a stolen aircraft into a hot zone. She is unauthorized and uncoordinated. She represents a danger to friendly aircraft and ground forces. If she does not turn back immediately, you are authorized to engage." Hewitt stares at his radio like it might bite him. "Engage? Sir, you're ordering me to shoot down a friendly aircraft?" "I'm ordering you to stop an unauthorized aircraft from compromising an active operation. How you choose to interpret that is up to you." The line goes dead. Hewitt sits frozen for 5 seconds. 10. His mind races through regulations, rules of engagement, the chain of command. Everything about this is wrong. Everything. But orders are orders. He reaches for a different radio. "Alert the CAP. We have an unauthorized aircraft entering restricted airspace." CAP Combat Air Patrol. 2 F-16 Falcons circling at 20,000 feet, providing top cover for the rescue operation. Fast. Armed. More than capable of intercepting 1 stolen helicopter. "Copy that. Redirecting CAP to intercept. Authorization code?" Hewitt takes a breath, says the words that will end someone's career, possibly end someone's life. Authorization code Golf Tango Foxtrot. Rules of engagement. Force unauthorized aircraft to land or return to base. If pilot refuses, you are cleared to engage. The silence on the other end tells him everything. Even the fighter pilots know this is insane. But orders are orders. Copy. CAP is inbound to intercept. In the Black Hawk, Ava is 15 minutes out when her radar warning receiver lights up. 2 contacts. Fast movers. High altitude. Coming in from the north. The symbology on her screen identifies them as friendly, blue triangles instead of red, but they're maneuvering into an intercept course. Her radio crackles. Not ground control, not Sloan. A new voice. Calm, professional, fighter pilot voice. Tail 297, this is Viper Lead. You are ordered to reverse course and return to base immediately. Acknowledge. Ava doesn't respond. She's focused on the terrain ahead. The mountains are getting steeper. The valley is close now. She can see smoke rising in the distance. Fire. Explosions. The battle is still raging. 297, acknowledge this transmission. You are entering restricted airspace without authorization. Turn back now. Still no response from Ava. She toggles through her nav display, marking terrain features, looking for the ingress route. The valley is narrow, one way in, one way out. The same route that got 2 Chinooks shot down. But Ava isn't flying a Chinook. She's flying a Black Hawk. Smaller, more agile, different options. 297, this is your final warning. If you do not reverse course, we are authorized to use force. Do you understand? We will shoot you down. The F-16s are visible now, dropping through the clouds, dropping fast, the kind of aggressive descent that means business. Ava's radar warning receiver begins screaming. They've locked her up. Radar lock. Target acquisition. One button press away from launching missiles. She checks her instruments. Fuel, 3/4. Enough to get there and back with margin, assuming she survives the next 60 seconds. The fighter pilot's voice again, less calm now, more urgent. 297, break off now. I have tone. I am cleared to engage. Tone. That means his weapons are armed. His targeting system is active. His finger is on the trigger. Ava looks ahead. The valley mouth is 8 kilometers away. 8 kilometers between her and 152 men who are dying while everyone else follows orders. She pushes the cyclic forward, adds power. The Black Hawk accelerates. Holy cow, she's not turning. 297, last chance. The radar warning receiver's scream reaches a fever pitch. Missile launch, 2 of them, heat seekers, fast, closing. Ava dumps the nose, hard. The Black Hawk pitches forward into a dive, trading altitude for speed. The world outside the windscreen blurs. She's dropping toward the deck, 100 feet, 50, 20. The missiles can't track this low, not through the terrain clutter, not when their target is skimming the ground at 200 knots. They streak overhead, missing by hundreds of feet, and explode harmlessly against a ridgeline. Viper 2, she's on the deck. I've lost radar. Ava levels out at 15 feet above ground level, nap of Earth flying. The kind of flying that requires absolute concentration because one mistake, one moment of inattention means hitting a rock or a tree or the ground at 200 knots. The kind of flying that turns helicopters into fireballs. The kind of flying that night stalkers do. She banks hard left, following a dry riverbed. The terrain rises around her, mountains closing in. The valley mouth ahead is darker now, smoke obscuring the entrance. She can hear radio chatter. Ground forces calling for help. Ammunition counts, casualty reports, the desperate arithmetic of soldiers running out of options. Will she make it? Drop a comment. What would you do in her position? The F-16s are higher now, trying to reacquire, but they're too fast. Can't slow down enough to track a helicopter flying this low, this slow. One of them banks away, climbing. The other one tries to follow Ava's path, but physics doesn't care about orders. An F-16 at 200 knots in a narrow valley is a lawn dart waiting to happen. Viper lead is breaking off, can't maintain visual. Copy, Viper lead. 297, you are... The fighter pilot's voice trails off. When he comes back, there's something different in his tone. Not anger, not frustration, something closer to respect. You're flying like a night stalker. Ava doesn't respond, can't respond. Every ounce of concentration is focused on not dying. The valley walls are tight here. Wind shear from the mountains causes turbulence. The Black Hawk bucks and shudders. She makes constant tiny corrections on the cyclic and collective. Flying by instinct, by feel, by 10,000 hours of muscle memory. Ahead, the valley opens up. And there, in the bottom of a dried riverbed, surrounded by rock and sand and death, are 152 men. The valley floor rushes up to meet her. Ava pulls collective, flaring the Black Hawk hard. The nose rises, airspeed bleeds off. The bird shudders as it transitions from forward flight to hover, rotors biting air, fighting gravity. Dust explodes outward in a brown cloud that obscures everything. Through the swirling sand, Ava can make out shapes, bodies, some moving, some not. The SEAL team has formed a defensive perimeter in a dried riverbed, the only cover available in this barren hellscape. Return fire sparks from the rocks. Incoming tracers cut through the dust like angry red hornets. Her radar warning receiver screams again. Not fighters this time. Surface-to-air missiles. Multiple threats. The valley walls light up with launch signatures. Whoever set this ambush knew exactly what they were doing. They let the rescue helicopters come in close before engaging. The wreckage of the 2 Chinooks is visible now. Burning hulks half a kilometer apart, black smoke rising into the morning sky. Ava doesn't land. Can't land. The moment she touches down, she becomes a stationary target. Instead, she holds a low hover, 3 feet off the deck, positioning the bird between the SEAL team and the heaviest incoming fire, using the Black Hawk's armored belly as a shield. It's not what the bird was designed for, but right now it's the only cover these men have. A figure breaks from the rocks, sprinting toward the helicopter. Navy fatigues, full combat load, face streaked with dust and something darker. He's carrying another soldier over his shoulders, fireman's carry. The wounded man's leg is wrapped in bloody bandages. Not moving. The running SEAL reaches the bird and practically throws the wounded man toward the cargo door. Then he's reaching back, signaling. More figures emerge from the rocks, moving fast, some helping others, some crawling. The mathematics of triage playing out in real time. Get the worst casualties out first. Ava holds the hover. Her right hand is locked on the cyclic, making constant micro-corrections as bullets impact the airframe. Pings and spangs, the sound of metal hitting metal. Her left hand works the collective and throttle. Her feet dance on the pedals, keeping the tail straight as crosswinds try to spin the bird. Every muscle in her body is engaged. This is flying stripped down to its purest form. Inputs and corrections, action and reaction, staying alive second by second. Another alarm. She glances at her threat display. 4 helicopter contacts coming in from the west. IFF shows friendly, but they're not engaging the enemy positions on the ridges. They're just holding, circling, like vultures waiting for something to die. All Ghost elements, this is ground, a voice on the tactical frequency. Desperate, breathless. Where's that air support? We're getting hammered here. No response from the circling helicopters. Ava switches to their frequency. Ghost Flight, this is Tail 297. I have troops in contact requesting immediate fire support. Coordinates follow. Silence. Then a voice she doesn't recognize. Cold. Professional. 297 Ghost Lead. We are not cleared to engage. Standing by for authorization. You're looking at 152 men about to be overrun. Authorization for what? Orders from higher. Hold position until cleared. Ava feels ice crawl down her spine. Those attack helicopters have the firepower to suppress every enemy position in this valley. Hellfire missiles, rockets, chain guns. They could turn the tide in minutes, but they're not engaging. They're watching, waiting. For what? The answer hits her like a physical blow. They're waiting for the SEAL team to be killed. All of them. Waiting for everyone who might have seen something, who might know something, to be eliminated. Not by the enemy, by abandonment, by deliberate inaction disguised as following orders. She keys her radio. Ghost-led, those men are dying. I have my orders. From Colonel Sloan, a pause, too long. That's affirmative. Ava's jaw clenches. She'd suspected, had pieces of evidence, encrypted messages, discrepancies in logs. But this is confirmation. Sloan isn't trying to save these men. He's trying to bury them. More SEALs reach the Black Hawk. They're loading the wounded into the cargo bay with practiced efficiency, but there's an edge of panic now. They can hear the enemy closing in. See the muzzle flashes getting closer. Time is measured in seconds. One of them climbs up to the cargo door, leans into the cabin. His face is covered in camouflage paint, but his eyes are clear, sharp, taking in the cockpit, taking in Ava. He has to shout over the rotor noise. How many can you take? Ava does the math. Standard UH-60 capacity is 11 passengers plus crew. She's alone, no crew chief, no gunner. That gives her maybe 14 if she pushes it, maybe 16 if she violates every safety regulation. But there are 152 men down here, even if all of them were still alive. How many you got? 12. Rest are... His voice trails off. He doesn't need to finish. The rest are dead or dying or too wounded to move. The brutal calculus of combat triage. Save who you can, leave who you must. Ava nods. Load them. The SEAL, she can see his rank now, lieutenant bars on his collar, starts to turn away. Then he stops, looks back at her, really looks. His eyes track from her helmet to her flight suit to her hands on the controls. Professional assessment. He's seen enough helicopter pilots to know what good looks like. And something about the way she's holding this hover, the way she's compensating for wind and incoming fire, the way she's positioning the bird to provide maximum cover, something registers. Who are you? He shouts. Before Ava can answer, an RPG streaks past the cockpit, close enough that she can feel the heat. It impacts the far valley wall and explodes. Shrapnel peppers the Black Hawk's tail boom. Warning lights flash on her panel, hydraulic pressure dropping in the number 2 system, not critical yet, but getting there. She needs to get out of here, now. Load faster. She keeps her eyes forward, scanning for threats. The enemy is getting bolder, advancing down the slopes. They know the rescue bird is vulnerable. They know if they can bring it down, everyone dies. The SEAL lieutenant is directing his men. Professional. Calm despite the chaos. Patterson, help Davis. Rodriguez, cover that ridgeline. Move, move, move. Ava's eyes flick to her mirrors. She can see them loading, wounded men being lifted aboard, others providing covering fire. The operation is taking too long. Every second in this hover burns fuel, burns luck, gives the enemy time to line up better shots. Another RPG. This one closer. The explosion rocks the Black Hawk sideways. Ava fights the controls, keeps the bird steady. More warning lights. Transmission temperature rising. She's pushing the aircraft beyond its limits, but limits don't matter if they're all dead. The SEAL lieutenant swings himself up into the cargo bay, the last one aboard. He slams his fist against the bulkhead twice. Universal signal. We're loaded. Get us out. Ava pulls pitch. The Black Hawk rises. Not fast. She's carrying too much weight for a quick climb, but rising, leaving the valley floor behind. The firing intensifies. The enemy knows this is their last chance. Everything they have is directed at the climbing helicopter. She pushes the cyclic forward, trading altitude for airspeed. The Black Hawk accelerates, 50 knots. 70, 100. The valley walls are blurring past. She's flying the same route she came in on, low, fast, following the terrain. But it's harder now. The bird is heavier, less responsive, and she's taking damage. A burst of heavy machine gun fire stitches across the left side of the fuselage. The noise is deafening. Ava feels the impacts through her seat, feels the Black Hawk yaw left as something important breaks. She compensates with right pedal, but the controls are getting mushy. Whatever that burst hit, it wasn't armor. The lieutenant appears in the cockpit doorway behind her. He secured the wounded, posted the able-bodied at the door guns, standard procedure. Now he's coming forward to assess their chances. One look at the instrument panel tells him everything. Red lights, yellow lights, warning tones. This bird is dying. How bad? He shouts. We'll make it. Ava's voice is steady. She doesn't know if it's true. Doesn't matter. These men need to believe they're getting out. The lieutenant moves to the right seat, the co-pilot position. He's not a pilot, but he's been on enough helicopters to know the basics. He can help, monitor systems, watch for threats, be an extra set of eyes. He's reaching for the seat harness when Ava banks hard right, diving toward a narrow ravine. The maneuver is violent, pulls several Gs. The lieutenant grabs the overhead handle to keep from being thrown against the bulkhead. What the? SAM launch! Ava's eyes are locked on her threat display. 2 missiles. Tracking. She dives into the ravine, using the terrain to mask her heat signature. The missiles streak overhead, confused, and detonate against the canyon rim. The lieutenant is staring at her now, not with fear, with recognition. He knows this flying. He's seen it before. On missions that officially never happened, in places that don't exist on maps, flown by pilots who don't exist in any database. You're flying like... He doesn't finish the sentence. Can't believe what he's thinking. Ava brings the Black Hawk up out of the ravine. They're clear of the valley now, but the threat board is still lit up. Those 4 attack helicopters, Ghost Flight, they're moving. Not away. Toward. The radio crackles. Ghost leads voice. 2907, reverse course. Return to the objective area. Ava doesn't respond. She's focused on flying, on keeping this damaged bird in the air. 2907, acknowledge. You are ordered to return. The lieutenant is listening to the exchange. He reaches for the radio controls. Ava shakes her head. Don't engage. Don't give them anything. Final warning 2907, turn back now or face engagement. That's when the lieutenant sees them. 4 shapes dropping down from high altitude. Apache attack helicopters, AH-64s, the most lethal rotary wing weapons platform in the American arsenal. And they're not coming to escort. They're coming to intercept. Those are ours, he says. Statement, question, disbelief. We're ours, Ava corrects. She's already changing course, dropping lower using terrain. The Apaches split into 2 pairs. Classic hunter-killer formation. Too high, too low, cutting off escape routes, hurting their prey, except their prey isn't enemy. It's the helicopter they're supposed to be supporting. Ghost lead again. 2907, you are carrying unauthorized personnel and operating a stolen aircraft. Land immediately or we are cleared to fire. The lieutenant's face goes white. They're going to shoot us down. They're going to try. Ava banks hard, diving toward another canyon system. The Black Hawk is handling badly now, sluggish, but she's coaxing every ounce of performance out of the dying bird. Behind them, one of the Apaches fires. Not a missile. Warning shots. 30mm cannon rounds impact the ground ahead of them, geysers of dirt and rock. The message is clear. Stop, or the next burst won't miss. Ava doesn't stop. She flies through the impacts, the Black Hawk shuddering as debris pelts the windscreen. The lieutenant is gripping the armrest so hard his knuckles are white. Behind them, in the cargo bay, the wounded SEALs are silent. They know. They understand. They survived one ambush only to fly into another. Why? The lieutenant's voice is barely audible over the noise. Why would our own people? Because you found something. Ava banks left, following a dry riverbed. Something someone doesn't want found. The lieutenant's eyes widen. The weapons cache. The serial numbers. Oh no. What serial numbers? We were doing route reconnaissance, found a Taliban weapons cache. Except the weapons weren't Russian or Chinese. They were American, brand new. Crates still had shipping labels, serial numbers traced back to... He stops, understanding flooding his face. They led back to our supply chain. Someone on our side has been supplying the enemy. Ava nods, and 152 witnesses just became a problem. But we're not all dead. 12 of us made it out, which is why they're trying so hard to fix that mistake. The Apaches are closing. The Black Hawk can't outrun them, can't outmaneuver them, not in this condition. Ava's running out of options. She checks her fuel. 20 minutes, maybe 25 if she conserves. But they're still 40 kilometers from friendly territory. And even if they make it, what then? Land at a base where half the command structure is compromised? Her tactical display shows a forward operating base ahead. FOB Courage, small, undermanned, but it has fuel, has ammunition, has medical support for the wounded, if she can get there, if the Apaches don't kill them first. Ghost leads voice, different now, urgent. All Ghost elements engage target. I say again, engage. 4 Apaches, each carrying 16 Hellfire missiles, plus rockets, plus chain guns, against one dying Black Hawk with no weapons and no defensive systems. The math is not favorable. Ava sees the missile launch, smoke trail arcing toward them, 2 seconds to impact. She dumps the collective, dropping the Black Hawk like a stone. The missile streaks overhead, missing by meters. But the maneuver costs altitude, costs airspeed, costs time. The lieutenant is on his radio now, broadcasting in the clear. Any station, this is Ghost 7 Actual. We are under fire from friendly aircraft. Repeat, we are being engaged by our own forces. 12 survivors from the Valley extraction request immediate assistance. Static. Then a voice. Ground control, not Hewitt, someone else. Ghost 7, say again your last. Did you say friendly fire? Affirmative. We're in a Black Hawk, tail number 297, being engaged by 4 Apaches. More static, confusion, then multiple voices talking over each other. The secret is out. Whatever conspiracy Sloan was running, it just became public. Dozens of people are listening, recording, bearing witness, which makes them more dangerous, more desperate. The Apaches press their attack. A second missile. Third. Ava is flying on pure instinct now. Dodging, weaving, using every terrain feature. The Black Hawk is screaming. Alarms, warnings, systems failing, but still flying, still fighting. The lieutenant unbuckles. I need to get back there, help the wounded. Ava shakes her head. Stay, need you here. For what? I'm not a pilot. No, but you're a witness. She meets his eyes. Whatever happens, you need to survive. Tell people what you saw, what you found. We're both surviving. But his voice lacks conviction. They're 5 kilometers from FOB Courage when Ava makes her decision. She can't outrun the Apaches, can't outfight them, but she can make them think twice, make them hesitate, make them realize that killing 12 SEALs plus 1 pilot in broad daylight with dozens of witnesses on the radio might be a bridge too far even for Sloan. She switches to the base-wide frequency. Every radio on every base within 200 kilometers will hear this. All stations, this is Captain Ava Quinn in Tail 297. I am carrying 12 survivors from the Korengal Valley extraction. We are being engaged by Ghost Flight Apache helicopters on orders from Colonel Derek Sloan. The SEAL team discovered evidence of weapons trafficking, American weapons being sold to the enemy. Sloan is attempting to eliminate witnesses. If we go down, someone needs to investigate. The truth needs to... An explosion, not a missile, cannon fire. 20-millimeter rounds ripping through the tail boom. The Black Hawk yaws violently. Ava fights the pedals, but there's nothing. No tail rotor authority. The helicopter begins to spin. They're going down. The lieutenant is shouting something. The cargo bay is chaos. The Black Hawk is rotating like a falling leaf. Ava auto-rotates, trying to manage the descent, trying to find something, anything, soft to hit. There. A flat area. Sandy. FOB Courage's perimeter. Not inside the wire, but close. She aims for it. The ground rushes up. Impact is hard. The landing gear collapses. The Black Hawk hits, bounces, slides, metal screaming against sand and rock. The rotor blades shatter. One skid digs in. The bird starts to roll, then stops, settles. The sudden silence is deafening. Ava's hands are still on the controls. Muscle memory. Trying to fly an aircraft that's no longer flying. The lieutenant grabs her shoulder. Out! We need to get out. Fuel is leaking. Smoke is rising. Fire is seconds away. Ava unbuckles. Her legs don't want to work. Adrenaline crash. The lieutenant half carries her from the cockpit. The cargo bay is a mess, but the SEALs are already moving, getting the wounded out, establishing security, professional even in disaster. They're 50 meters from the Black Hawk when it explodes. Not a large explosion, just fuel catching. But enough. The bird is gone. FOB Courage's gate is opening. Marines pouring out. Medics. Security. Someone must have heard the radio calls, seen the crash. They're running toward the wreckage. The lieutenant has Ava down behind a berm. She's trying to stand, trying to assess, trying to understand why she's still alive. Her right arm hurts. She looks down. Her flight suit sleeve is torn, ripped open from shoulder to elbow. Must have happened during the crash. Sharp metal or shrapnel. She doesn't remember. The lieutenant is talking to her. Words she can't quite process. Something about medical, about getting checked out. But she's not focused on him. She's focused on her arm, on the torn sleeve, on what the torn sleeve has revealed. Ink, black and gray. A tattoo running from shoulder to forearm. Not decorative, not artistic. Specific. A skull, wings, numbers. 160. Letters. SOAR. Below that, a motto. Death waits in the dark. The lieutenant sees it. His voice stops mid-sentence. He's staring. Not at her, at the tattoo. At what it means, what it represents. He can't finish. Can't believe. Ava is pulling at the sleeve, trying to cover it. Too late. Other SEALs are there now. They see. One of them, Patterson, the one who was helping the wounded, his eyes go wide. That's a Night Stalker tattoo. Another voice. Rodriguez. Check the numbers. 160. That's the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. But she's... Patterson is looking between Ava and the tattoo and back. She's the desk officer, the one who's grounded. Everyone was wrong. The lieutenant's voice is quiet. He's not looking at the tattoo anymore. He's looking at her face, really seeing her for the first time. You're not grounded. You're undercover. Ava doesn't respond. Her eyes are on the horizon. The 4 Apaches are circling, watching, but not attacking. Not now. Not with 24 Marines between them and their target. Too many witnesses. Too much exposure. The Marines reach them. A corpsman immediately starts checking the wounded. A staff sergeant is barking orders. Get these men inside the wire. I want security positions established. Someone figure out what the hell just happened. The lieutenant holds up a hand. Staff Sergeant, I need to speak to your commanding officer right now. It's urgent. Sir, we need to get you and your men to medical. Right, now. The lieutenant's voice carries command weight. And I need a secure communications line, encrypted. We need to contact JSOC directly, not through normal channels. The staff sergeant sees something in the lieutenant's eyes, something that makes him stop arguing. Yes, sir, this way. As they move toward the gate, Marines forming a protective cordon, one of them gets a better look at Ava's arm. The tattoo is fully visible now. The young Marine, can't be more than 20, does a double take. Ma'am, are you actually... He looks around, like he's checking to make sure this is real. My instructor in flight school told stories about the 160th, about missions that never happened, about pilots who could fly anything anywhere. He said you could always tell them by the ink. Before Ava can respond, another voice, older, authority, a gunnery sergeant pushing through the crowd. He's 50 if he's a day. Vietnam-era tattoos on his forearms. He takes one look at Ava's arm and stops. His expression changes, goes from confusion to recognition to respect in 3 seconds. Everyone stand down. His voice cuts through the chaos. That's a Night Stalker, the real deal. See that scar? He points to a mark on Ava's arm, partially hidden by the tattoo. A distinctive pattern, burn scar, old but unmistakable. That's from an IED blast. I've seen those scars before, on special operations pilots. You don't get those flying desks. This is what real heroism looks like. Share this story. Hit that subscribe button for more untold truths. The Circle of Marines has gone silent. All eyes on Ava, on the tattoo, on the scar, the pieces clicking together in their minds. The stories they've heard, the legends about pilots who fly missions too dangerous for anyone else, who operate in the darkest corners of the world's worst places, who never seek credit, never talk about what they've done. One of the SEALs, Davis, leg bandaged and leaning on another man, speaks up. Wait, what's your call sign? Ava is silent for 3 heartbeats. 5. Then, quietly, Reaper 6. The effect is electric. Patterson actually steps back. Rodriguez's mouth falls open. The lieutenant closes his eyes. Oh my God, you're the Quinn, from Operation Crosswind. I don't know what you're talking about. Ava's voice is flat. Yes, you do. Everyone in JSOC knows the story. Classified to hell and back, but people talk. 5 years ago. Extraction mission in Syria went wrong. Entire element pinned down. Pilot flew through an enemy armored column, to extract them. Took 57 hits. Brought everyone home. That was you. That's classified. But it was you. Ava doesn't confirm, doesn't deny, just stares at the horizon where the Apaches are still circling. Back at the main base in the operations center, Major Brad Hewitt is watching his career evaporate in real time. The radio transmission from Ava, broadcast on an open channel, has created a firestorm. Every officer on 3 bases heard it. Weapons trafficking, witness elimination, Sloan's name specifically mentioned. His phone is ringing. Multiple lines, people demanding answers, demanding explanations, demanding to know if it's true that American forces are shooting at American forces. Colonel Sloan bursts into the operations center. His face is red, veins standing out on his neck. Shut it down. Shut all of it down. Kill the recordings. Scrub the logs. Now. Hewitt just stares at him. Sir, it's too late. Half the military heard that transmission. Then we deny it. Say Quinn is unstable. Say she's making false accusations. Say, sir, she's not the only one talking. The SEAL team is alive. 12 witnesses. They'll corroborate her story. Then they're mistaken, shell-shocked, unreliable. Sir, with respect, that won't work. Too many people heard. Too many people are asking questions. Sloan's hands are shaking, not with fear, with rage. That pilot destroyed a multi-million-dollar aircraft, violated orders, endangered lives. She's going to prison for this. Actually, sir, she saved 12 lives. A new voice. Chief Warrant Officer Rivers standing in the doorway. He's holding something. A tablet. And I've been doing some research. Captain Quinn was never grounded. She was on temporary administrative assignment, pending an investigation that you initiated, an investigation into protocol violations that, according to these records, never actually happened. Sloan turns. Who the hell are you? Someone who knows what a Night Stalker coin looks like. Rivers holds up the tablet. On the screen, service records. Ava's service records. Awards. Commendations. Combat missions. 47 combat missions. 212 hours of combat flying time. Distinguished Flying Cross. Bronze Star with Valor. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. All logged, all documented, all classified. Those records are sealed. We're sealed. Funny thing about emergencies, they tend to unseal things. Rivers smiles. It's not a friendly smile. I spent 23 years in special operations aviation. I know how this works. You put her in a desk job hoping she'd quit, hoping she'd go away. Instead, she used it as cover. To investigate you. Hewitt is looking between Rivers and Sloan, understanding dawning. The inventory discrepancies, the fuel logs, she was tracking evidence. For 6 months, Rivers switches screens on the tablet. Every communication, every suspicious transfer, every off-books transaction. She documented all of it, and she sent copies to 3 different Inspector General offices, encrypted, time-stamped, sealed unless she failed to check in for 72 hours. Sloan's face goes from red to white. That's not possible. It's very possible. She learned from the best. Rivers' voice goes cold. From Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Briggs, her mentor, the man who taught her to fly, the man who died in a helicopter accident 6 months ago when he started asking questions about weapons shipments. He leans forward. That wasn't an accident, was it? The operations center has gone silent. Everyone is watching. Everyone is listening. This isn't a private conversation anymore. It's a public confession. Sloan seems to realize it too. He looks around, sees the faces, sees the phones, sees the recording equipment still running. He's trapped. Every word is being documented. Every action witnessed. He turns and walks out. Nobody tries to stop him. 2 minutes later, military police arrive. They're not there for Ava. At FOB Courage, Ava is in a makeshift aid station. A corpsman is checking her over. Cuts, bruises, nothing serious. The lieutenant is there. The SEALs, the Marines who pulled them out, and a communications officer who's holding a sat phone like it's made of plutonium. "Ma'am, I have General Patricia Marks on the line. She's asking for you specifically." She says. The communications officer swallows. She says to tell Captain Quinn that the chains are off. Ava takes the phone, listens. Her expression doesn't change, but something in her posture shifts. Relief, or maybe just exhaustion. She hands the phone back. "General Marks is initiating an immediate investigation. Inspector General DOD Criminal Investigation Military Justice. She's freezing all of Sloan's assets and communications." The lieutenant exhales. It's over. The shooting part is. Ava looks at her torn sleeve, at the exposed tattoo, at the secret that's no longer secret. The rest is just beginning. Over the next 72 hours, the story unfolds like a carefully documented legal brief, because that's exactly what it is. Ava spent 6 months building a case, 6 months collecting evidence, 6 months enduring insults and humiliation and being called a coward, all while methodically documenting the largest weapons trafficking operation in military history. The numbers are staggering. $47 million in weapons and equipment, diverted from legitimate contracts, sold to intermediaries, resold to Taliban and other hostile forces, all facilitated by Colonel Derek Sloan and a network of corrupt officers and contractors. The SEAL team's discovery of the weapons cache with American serial numbers was the final piece, the piece that would have exposed everything. So Sloan orchestrated their elimination, not a rescue operation, a burial detail. 152 men ordered into a trap. Rescue assets deliberately delayed. Support deliberately withheld. And when Ava refused to follow the script, when she went rogue to save who she could, Sloan tried to tie up that loose end too. But loose ends have a way of unraveling conspiracies. The court-martial proceedings are swift. Military justice, when it wants to move fast, moves very fast. Sloan is arrested. So is Major Hewitt. So are 3 contractors and 2 supply officers. The evidence is overwhelming. Ava's documentation, the SEAL team's testimony, the recovered weapons with traced serial numbers, the intercepted communications, the financial records. One by one, the dominoes fall. At the main trial, held in a secure courtroom with limited media access, Ava testifies. It's the first time most people have heard her speak at length. Her voice is steady, clinical. She presents facts, timelines, evidence, no emotion, no drama, just the truth, laid out in meticulous detail. The defense tries to discredit her, claims she acted rashly, endangered lives, violated regulations. The prosecutor's response is simple. He calls Chief Warrant Officer Rivers to the stand. Rivers brings a box. Inside, 47 flight logs documenting combat missions, signed off by commanding officers now dead, retired, or bound by classification. Proof that Captain Ava Quinn is one of the most experienced combat pilots in the United States military. She didn't violate regulations, Rivers tells the court. She violated someone's plan to commit murder. The defense has no response. Sloan is convicted. Conspiracy to commit murder, dereliction of duty, arms trafficking, military prison, dishonorable discharge. His co-conspirators receive similar sentences. The institutional response goes deeper. The Department of Defense launches investigations into systemic failures, insufficient oversight, conflicts of interest, a culture prioritizing mission over accountability, new whistleblower protections, anonymous reporting channels, better weapons tracking. The reforms are named the Quinn Protocols. 3 months later, there's a ceremony at the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment headquarters in North Carolina. Ava wears her flight suit again. The Night Stalker Association presents a new challenge coin, engraved, Korengal Valley, 12 saved, truth exposed. Lieutenant Jack Harmon salutes, the crisp, formal salute of respect earned in blood. Ava returns it. Your team found the truth. I made sure people heard it. You showed us what integrity looks like. Jack pauses. What happens now? I go back to flying, same missions, different call sign, same purpose. And if there's another Sloan, someone will stop them. Steel in her voice. That's the job. Making sure the people we serve with can trust the system. We owe you our lives. You owe me nothing. I was doing my job. She touches her rebandaged tattoo. Not that we're better, that we're accountable. Seal Davis approaches, walking with a cane. My daughter gets to grow up with a father because of you. Because you had courage to report what you found, even knowing the cost. We lost 140 brothers. I know. Her voice softens. I hear them every night. I'll carry them forever. That's on Sloan. It's on all of us, to make sure it never happens again. People disperse. Ava lingers at the memorial wall, names engraved in stone. One name recent, Chief Warrant Officer Daniel Briggs. She touches his name. We got him, Chief. Rivers appears beside her. He'd be proud. He'd be furious I took so long. 6 months isn't long when destroying a criminal network. Rivers hands her an envelope. He left this, week before the accident. Inside, 1 sheet. Briggs's handwriting. 3 sentences. You're ready. Trust your instincts. Make them pay. She folds it carefully. He knew. That's why Sloan killed him, because Briggs taught you to think like an investigator. Rivers pauses. Now you honor his memory. Train the next generation. Teach them what integrity means. I can do that. General Marks approved your assignment, training cadre. Teaching decision-making under pressure, when to stand up, when to fight. I didn't request that. Briggs did, in his will, dated 3 weeks before he died. Ava closes her eyes, the weight of legacy settling. I'll do it, for him, and for the next person who needs saving. 3 weeks later, Ava sits in a training simulator control room, 6 new pilots struggling with nap of Earth flying. During break, a lieutenant asks, "Ma'am, is it true, the Valley story?" Silence. Then, what story? That you flew a stolen helicopter into combat, extracted 12 SEALs, got shot down, exposed massive corruption, while everyone thought you were just a desk officer. I was doing my job. But how did you know it was the right call? She looks at each student, young, untested. You don't always know. Sometimes you trust your training, your instincts. Even if everything goes wrong, doing the right thing is still right. Even if you get in trouble? Especially then. The question isn't, will I face consequences? It's, can I live with myself if I don't act? She pulls out the coin. This cost my reputation, my career, nearly my life. But 12 men went home. So when you ask if it was the right call, she flips it. Ask them. Warrant Officer Chen speaks. When you were taking all those insults, how did you not break? I wore their contempt like armor. Every insult proved they didn't see me coming. I didn't need respect. I needed them to ignore me. And after? After doesn't matter. What matters is making the right call in the moment. Chen nods. I hope I'm half as brave when my time comes. You will be, because I'll make sure you're ready. Ava stands. Now get back in those simulators. You failed a mission. Let's figure out why. Because someday you'll face a real mission that matters, and I want you prepared. They return to simulators. Ava watches. Complex terrain, multiple threats, impossible timelines. No perfect solutions, only choices. Her phone buzzes. Encrypted message. Tower 4 sends regards. Operation Black Horizon, still active. Tower 4, Briggs's old unit. The most sensitive operations. The ones never recorded. She types, Quinn, ready. Reply, stand by. You'll know when. The message deletes itself. Ava pockets the phone. Her students are flying, making mistakes, learning. They don't know about Tower 4, about Black Horizon, about what's coming. Not yet. But someday one will face their own impossible choice, their own valley, their own corrupt officer, and they'll remember what their instructor taught them, that justice isn't loud, it's patient, courage isn't flashy, it's persistent, integrity isn't convenient, it's mandatory. And sometimes the people who change everything are the ones everyone underestimated. Ava touches her arm, the tattoo covered again, back in shadows, still there, permanent. A reminder of who she is, what she stands for. Death waits in the dark, but so does justice. And tonight, like every night, she's ready to fly into whatever darkness comes next.
Every soldier carry a story that few ever hear. Listen with your heart. Thank you for staying and watching. Subscribe to MVB Story for more.